The explosion that shook the world, fire ripping through steel, smoke flooding the sky, and a bridge that once symbolized power now lying in ruins. Russia's pride has been shattered in seconds, and Putin's silence speaks louder than words. Ukraine's Neptune strike didn't just destroy a bridge, it tore through the illusion of control. Tonight, the balance of the war has shifted, and the world is watching every flame that burns across the Kerch Strait. Hello, welcome back to my channel. What we're witnessing today is nothing short of extraordinary. The massive explosion that obliterated the Crimean Bridge has become a defining moment in this war, an event that shook the Russian leadership and sent a message across the globe. The bridge, once considered untouchable, has been turned into twisted metal and chaos. It was a symbol of dominance, and now it's a symbol of vulnerability. The strike was clean, calculated, and devastating. Eyewitness videos showed fire engulfing entire sections of the structure. You could see the glow from miles away, a silent reminder that no structure, no matter how protected, is beyond reach. Russia immediately scrambled to contain the damage, but even their tightly controlled media couldn't hide the truth. This was a precise hit. This wasn't an accident. It was a demonstration of precision, strategy, and psychological warfare. Ukraine's reported use of its Neptune missile system marks a turning point in modern combat. This wasn't just a random hit, it was a showcase of evolving tactics. The missile, built for sea targets, was adapted to strike one of the most secure land-based structures in the region. It shows a deep understanding of enemy defenses and timing. When the explosion came, it wasn't just steel that broke, it was confidence. The illusion of invincibility cracked wide open. Inside Russia, chaos followed. Commanders demanded explanations, and panic spread among officials. Putin's inner circle, according to leaks, was in turmoil. He had called the bridge an unbreakable link, a triumph of strength. Now that same structure was burning, and with it, the myth of control. The Kremlin's propaganda machine rushed to call it sabotage or a minor incident, but the world had already seen the videos. The flames told their own story, one of precision and defiance. For Ukraine, this moment carries deep meaning. Every strike like this isn't just about tactics, it's about reclaiming dignity. For years, the bridge represented separation, control, and dominance. Now, it stands as a monument to Ukrainian resilience and ingenuity. It says to the world, we can strike back, we can defend what's ours, and that message is louder than any explosion. The power of this operation lies not only in the physical destruction, but in the psychological shockwave it created. Russian soldiers stationed in Crimea suddenly found themselves cut off, their supply routes threatened. The bridge was their lifeline for ammunition, fuel, and equipment. Now that artery has been severed. The logistical nightmare for Moscow is real. Every convoy that once crossed safely must now rely on alternative, slower routes, each one within range of Ukrainian drones and artillery. As news spread, reactions rippled across the globe. Analysts called it a strategic masterpiece. Western military experts pointed out that such a strike required not just skill, but deep intelligence coordination. It shows how far Ukraine's defense capabilities have evolved from surviving early invasions to conducting precision, long-range operations that target the very heart of the opponent's infrastructure. On Russian social media, the shock was impossible to contain. Supporters who once chanted about the country's military might were left speechless. Some demanded answers. Others accused the military of weakness, the very narrative of invulnerability that the Kremlin built over years collapsed in a single night. That's the true power of symbolism in war. It hits where it hurts the most, not just in material loss, but in morale. As the fires burned through the night, emergency teams tried desperately to control the damage. Videos captured firefighters battling roaring flames, trucks overturned, and broken concrete hanging over dark water. The heat was so intense that even hours later, the air shimmered above the wreckage. Satellite images confirmed what the Russian government didn't want to admit: the bridge was in pieces. This moment is more than a headline. It's a glimpse into how the course of a war can change through one act of precision. Ukraine has shown that technology and courage can outweigh sheer numbers. The Neptune missile, once underestimated, now stands as a symbol of what Ukrainian innovation can achieve even under pressure. It's proof that adaptation is the true strength of modern warfare. Inside the Kremlin, silence and frustration dominate. The leadership now faces an impossible decision: retaliate and risk even greater loss, or acknowledge a painful truth that their control is slipping. Historically, moments like these define legacies. For Putin, it's a test of how long a myth of power can survive against the weight of reality. Every failed retaliation will only deepen the doubt already growing within his borders. The people of Crimea have been living under tension since the first explosions echoed. Roads are jammed, gas stations packed, and fear has replaced confidence. For many, this attack shattered the illusion that they were safe from the war. The destruction of the bridge didn't just hit Russia's logistics, it hit its sense of security. When fear reaches civilians, it changes everything. It weakens the narrative of control from the inside. Meanwhile, Ukrainian cities celebrated quietly. Officials remained cautious, offering no direct confirmation, but their smiles said enough. The morale boost this event gave to Ukrainian forces is immeasurable. Every soldier on the front lines now knows that their strikes reach far beyond trenches, that even the symbols of power can fall. The psychological impact of that realization fuels every future mission. This event also signals a shift in global military thinking. The traditional idea of war being fought solely on front lines no longer holds. Strategic infrastructure, information, and morale are the new battlegrounds. Ukraine has mastered this balance, using intelligence, technology, and timing to cripple its opponent's confidence. The Neptune strike represents more than a military hit, it's a form of modern strategic communication. Economically, the damage is immense. That bridge wasn't just a military route, it carried goods, resources, and people. Its destruction disrupts supply chains across the entire region. Prices for fuel and food are expected to spike in occupied territories. Logistics routes are collapsing, forcing Russia to divert scarce resources just to maintain basic operations. Each new delay chips away at their stability. As the smoke cleared, the symbolism became undeniable. What was once touted as a triumph of strength is now a monument of failure. For Ukraine, it's a message that persistence pays off. For Russia, it's a warning that arrogance invites downfall. The bridge stood for power. Now it stands for fragility. And in war, perception is often more powerful than reality. The world's response has been cautious but supportive. Western allies recognize the courage and precision behind the operation. Diplomats have called it a legitimate act of defense, emphasizing Ukraine's right to target structures used for aggression. In contrast, Moscow has called it an act of terrorism, an attempt to shift attention from their own failures. But words can't rebuild what's already in ashes. As days pass, repair crews may arrive, promises may be made, but the image of that burning bridge is already seared into global memory. It's a symbol of defiance, a visual that no amount of propaganda can erase. And every time that image resurfaces, it will remind the world of what happens when power is challenged by determination. On the battlefield, the consequences are already unfolding. Russian supply lines are being stretched thin, forcing their forces to operate with reduced support. Ukrainian strikes are becoming more daring, more targeted. The momentum for now has shifted. What once seemed like a distant hope is now a series of tangible victories, each one bringing Ukraine closer to reclaiming what was taken. This moment also resonates beyond war. It's a lesson in resilience. It shows that even against overwhelming force, intelligence and willpower can rewrite reality. Ukraine's path has never been easy, but this operation proves that precision and patience can dismantle even the grandest illusions. As night falls over the Kerch Strait, the glow of the destruction lingers, a haunting but powerful reminder that control built on fear never lasts. The silence from the Kremlin, the shock in Moscow, the celebration in Kiev, all of it, paints a new picture of the conflict. A picture where determination outshines dominance and innovation defeats intimidation. This isn't just about missiles or bridges. It's about the will of a people refusing to surrender. It's about a nation showing the world that courage can break chains stronger than steel. The Neptune strike did more than destroy a structure. It destroyed a myth. And as the smoke drifts into the night sky, one thing is clear. This war is entering a new chapter, one where symbols fall and truth stands tall. The fire on that bridge wasn't just an explosion. It was a message. Power can be built, but it can also burn. And when it does, the world remembers who lit the spark.